Fanny is the youngest daughter of the Wirtz family, and Tigreal is her older brother. So that's Tigreal Wirtz and Fanny Wirtz. The men of the Wirtz served in the army for generations and guarded the Munian Empire, but the female members of the family were never allowed to join the army. The belief of the men in the family is that their duty was to protect their country and kin from threats, and women were to just stay in the kitchen and away from war. I know, right? Anyway, with that kind of belief of the Wirtz family, you can imagine what kind of life Fanny had lived so far. The elders of the family wanted her to be a designer or an artist or help manage the family business. But for Fanny, all of those stuff was beneath her. What she wanted was to be like her only son Tigreal. Tigreal fought in the front lines for the Imperial Army, a renowned soldier within the empire and a hero for Fanny. So the old school belief of the Wirtz family and Fanny's aspiration to be like Tigreal often clashed. Fanny grew more rebellious as she grew older. The teenage angst-filled Fanny became a nightmare for her tutors. She would often cut classes and dance with weapons instead. Despite this though, Fanny was a genius, and she would easily understand the lessons taught to her in a short time. As for Tigreal, he very much liked his rebellious little sister. Tigreal showed her extreme affection, and whenever he would come back home to Lumina City together with the army, he will tell her battle stories from his recent missions and will even teach Fanny some useful fighting techniques. All of this made Fanny yearn even more for the military life. Despite Tigreal's actions though, he was still against the idea of Fanny joining the army. He didn't want her cute little sister to be in any danger. Since his little sister was so cute, Tigreal promised Fanny that once she turns 18, he will take her to the military base of the Light of Order. Fanny was looking forward to this event, but before the date came for the promised day, an alarming news from the army front lines arrived. The battle against the frontier demons was victorious. However, the 2nd Division was completely wiped out. Its captain Tigreal was the only one who survived. But for unknown reasons, he left the army and disappeared. Soon enough, Tigreal was labeled as a deserter, and the once proud Wirtz family was shamed and dishonored. Fanny had conflicting feelings. She loved and respected her brother, but the empire itself now considers him a deserter, and through his actions had dishonored the Wirtz family. Through all the confusion and rumors, Fanny decided that there was one thing she was sure of. His brother was no coward. She knew that he probably had his own reasons for suddenly leaving the army. She still believed in her brother, and what she needed to do was to reclaim the family's lost glory in his absence. And so, going against the wish of her mother and the family elders, Fanny joined the army. Fanny planned to gain achievements and glory through the army, and in doing so, revive the dignity of the Wirtz family, and maybe even his brothers. However, it didn't go exactly as she planned. As soon as she arrived at the army's barracks, she was greeted with laughter and mockery. It was hilarious that a pampered noble girl wanted to join the foot soldiers of the army. She was ridiculed that a soft girl like her wouldn't be able to survive the harsh life of the soldiers. Despite Fanny's resolve, what they said did contain some truth. The life and training within the barracks was harsh and grueling. She hated to admit it, but she was indeed a pampered noble girl whose needs had always been provided by the servants of her family. She was used to a life of privilege, and the life within the barracks was the most difficult thing she had yet experienced. However, she held on and persevered. She got rid of her long luxurious hair that she had always loved, and immersed herself in the training lessons of her commanders. After months of hard training, the day for the recruitment test finally arrived, and Fanny passed it with flying colors. She was then incorporated into the scout unit of the Imperial Garrison. After several years, the pampered noble girl had transformed into a real soldier. Fanny had become a highly regarded Imperial scout. Most of her tasks required her to roam the outskirts of the Empire. The terrains of these lands were difficult to travel onto. Thus, Fanny devised a way to improve her mobility during her missions. Remember when we told you that Fanny was a genius when she was a kid? And that she would understand her lessons within a short time frame? Well, just like Spider-Man, Fanny invented her own web-shooting thingy-majig gizmo, but instead of webs, it shoots out steel cables. Connected to the device were two swords that were customized with a trigger mechanism. This trigger enables Fanny to be pulled towards the cable's target. After tons and tons and tons of practice, Fanny was able to create her very own fighting technique that makes use of the steel cables and dual swords. Well, either that or she jumped dimensions, went to the AOT universe, learned some 3D maneuvering techniques from Mikasa, and then came back to the Land of Dawn. Anyways, with this, she also gained the mobility needed to traverse the dangerous terrains of her scouting missions. Those who ridiculed her now looks at her with respect and admiration. She was a graceful figure in the battlefield and was called by the soldiers as the Blade Dancer. With her outstanding achievements within the scout unit, Fanny finally obtained the qualifications needed to be selected into the elite Lights Order. Eventually, Tigreal returned to the Munian Empire, and our S5 tank was shocked when she found out that her pampered, cute little sister was now a member of the Lights Order. Tigreal heard of all the hardships that Fanny went through, and of what happened to the Wirtz family. His little sister, a girl, had reclaimed the lost honor of the Wirtz. Tigreal was beaming with pride for his sister. He acknowledged Fanny as a true warrior and invited her to stay by his side. They would fight shoulder to shoulder as a fellow peer and as a fellow soldier.